I recently went on a family vacation to Dauphin Island. Dauphin Island is located about 45 minutes south of Mobile, Alabama. Now, I had never been to this place before. I really didn't know much about it, but luckily my husband and I were going with family and they hadn't been there before, so they were able to provide a little bit of guidance. Food is super, super important to me when I'm going on a trip. I mean, obviously I have a YouTube channel that talks a lot about food. Yeah, the main questions on my mind are usually, what are we eating? Where are we eating? When are we eating? So I thought I would put this video together and hopefully help some people who are maybe traveling to the island, even for a day trip, or maybe if they're staying for an entire week like we did. Most of the restaurants that I'm going to be talking about are located on the island, but I do have a couple that I think are worth the drive if you're planning to do some other activities. So the first one is Pirates Breakfast at the Beach. This is a pretty cool concept. You can get your breakfast and you can kind of sit in front of this beautiful view and enjoy it. You have the option of choosing 3 items for $7.95 or 5 items for $13.95. I kind of like the way they did this because all of the food was pretty much ready and you just, chose what you wanted and they would put it in a container for you. We chose to take our food home because it was a little bit busy. We went on a Sunday morning and we already had like a gorgeous view of the place we were staying. If you want all of the items to be available, like be mindful of what time you're going, what day you're going. Unfortunately, a few of the things that we wanted to order, they were out of them or it would have taken a really long time for them to cook. And that included bacon. I mean, they didn't have any bacon when we went. It was busy, I get it. So I ended up having, what did I have? I had scrambled eggs, I had cheese grits, and I had a biscuit. All of it was pretty good, and I thought $7.95 for 3 items was a decent price. If you've been with me for a while, you know that unfortunately I do have a shellfish allergy. I developed this allergy later in life, so I actually ate crab legs and lobster and all the yummy shellfish that I wanted up until I was about 35 years old. So we were in a place that offered a lot of delicious seafood, and most of the rest of my family, wanted to partake. Of course they did. I'm happy for them that they can even have these kinds of things. But luckily, my sister-in-law actually does not, I don't know if that's luckily. Anyway, she doesn't enjoy shellfish. And so I had kind of like someone to guide me on where to get food that wasn't shellfish while everybody else was enjoying their dinner of crab legs. So on crab leg night, we ended up picking up dinner for ourselves at a food truck called Lith's Asian Cuisine. And judging by this line, as you can see, it's very popular. I don't think there are any like brick and mortar Asian restaurants on the island, so this was like a really popular choice. And we did have to wait quite a while. I know that they were working as fast as they could. I would say it was worth the wait. I ended up just getting some chicken lo mein, and the portion size was pretty large. The rest of the family had crab legs again a few nights later, so there was a second crab leg night. I had enough chicken lo mein left that I just added some extra vegetables to it that second night and had it again for dinner. This was really, really good. Definitely worth checking out. It seemed like there were gonna be some like food truck nights or food truck days in one of the parks. So there were 2 different food trucks there that day. I can't remember what the other one was called. I'll pop a photo in here if I have one. I think I do. It was just really nice to have a couple of different options that maybe weren't there every day. So the third place I wanted to mention is called Miguel's Beach in Baja. And this is like a Mexican food kind of like taco stand. We had this for 2 different meals. One of the meals I had a beef taco and a chicken taco and then some rice and beans. And then another day I just had some chicken tacos. These were really, really solid, like really good. They have a lot of different protein choices. You can get tacos as well as burritos, bowls. They have nachos. They also have different types of tortillas. So I got soft corn tortillas. I kind of like that style a little bit better when I'm having like street tacos. But these were really delicious, not too expensive. I mean, most of the food that we ate on this vacation, I would say was surprisingly good value for being in a place that was like very touristy. But yeah, it's just a little walk-up stand, so you do kind of have to make some plans for where you're gonna take the food. Are you gonna have a picnic? Are you gonna take it back home? That kind of thing. There's no like inside dining. I think they maybe had a picnic table or 2. I would recommend this, and they have a lot of options for people, whether you're eating meat or you're a vegetarian, you're a pescatarian. They had a little bit of everything. And then right next door in the same building is Foxy's Waffle Bar. This is an incredibly popular spot for breakfast. I will say it is like sweet breakfast. It's like all kind of like waffles, smoothies, smoothie bowls. It's not the type of place where you're gonna get like bacon and eggs or breakfast sandwiches, but these were kind of, I think they're like Belgian style waffles that are cut up into pieces, and then you can choose like a ton of different toppings. I ended up going with strawberries, whipped cream, and sweetened condensed milk for mine. The waffles come with a few toppings, and then you can add more and pay a little bit extra. You can just get the traditional like whipped cream kind of maple syrup, butter, whatever you want. But they have things like peanut butter, they have different fruits, they've got chocolate, they've got caramel, all kinds of stuff. So it really is a treat. I wouldn't say this is something that you probably want to eat for breakfast every single day, but it is delicious as a, you know, a dessert or a breakfast. And then for dinner one night, all of us went to Islanders Restaurant. This seemed like a pretty popular spot. I didn't really know what to expect. You know, you kind of check out the reviews for some of these places and maybe they're kind of middle of the road and you know, you don't know what you're gonna get. But honestly, this was such a good meal. I had a BLT. I know that's maybe kind of an odd choice for like a dinner on vacation, but it sounded good at the time and I'm really glad I chose it because it was just like chock full of yummy crispy bacon. The tomatoes were really beautiful. I feel like that's so important on a good BLT. And of course, they had Duke's mayo. We were in the South. We had to have the Duke's mayo. I can get Duke's here in Ohio, but we couldn't get it while we were living in California. We had to have our friends send us some in the mail. Everybody really enjoyed their meals here. One person had steak, one person had like a seafood pasta, someone had a burger, you know, some fried seafood. They had a really good variety of items on the menu. They had some outdoor seating and they also had some live music playing. It was really good. You know, sometimes when you go and there's live music playing, it's like super disruptive and loud. We were kind of like sitting pretty close to the person playing and it was just really pleasant. He had a good song selection and it was just a really nice place to go. I would say you could go casual dinner here. You could go, you know, if you have a little bit more of an occasion that you want to dress up for, that would also be appropriate. So now I have a couple of places that are not on Dauphin Island. They're in other places. The first one is about, I want to say like a 20-minute drive in Bayou, Batre, and it is called Sugar Rush Donuts. This is a favorite place of the family members that we were with. They've gone like all, you know, almost every year probably, I'm guessing. The donuts, they had a great selection. All of them were like delicious. They had really, really good coffee too. I was surprised, like sometimes you go to like a donut shop and the coffee is just kind of like drip coffee or whatever. This was good. It was definitely like a sweet treat kind of coffee. I think I got like a caramel latte or caramelized coffee or something like that. I know I should have gotten more footage of these donuts, but they were like, they were so good that I ended up eating them like right away. I got a donut that had like lemon icing and then fruity pebbles on top. And that was really delicious. Of course, they had like your maple bacon bars. They also had like pigs in a blanket, so smoked sausage with puff pastry wrapped around them. Really good. So they had a little bit of a different selection besides donuts, so you could get something a little more savory if that is more your thing. So there was one day when a couple of the people in our group were gonna go golfing in Gulf Shores, and the rest of us did, you know, we were gonna go and do a little bit of shopping. So we kind of split up that day. To get to Gulf Shores, you can drive onto a ferry and, you know, take a boat over and then drive like 15 minutes. It's a little bit faster that way. Otherwise, the drive is something like an hour and a half from Dauphin Island. But when we arrived, we were kind of wanting a late breakfast, and I just found this little place called the Ugly Diner. I apologize that I didn't get any footage of my food because it was so good. So we all kind of got breakfast dishes. I ended up ordering a cheese omelet with spinach and mushroom. And it came with, I think, toast and some potatoes. Just such delicious melty cheese in that omelet. The eggs were cooked perfectly. We got there, as I mentioned, for a little bit of a late breakfast. So by the time we were finishing up, it was getting to be like more of an early lunchtime. And I guess we picked the right place because the people who were coming in for early lunch seemed to be locals. They knew all of the staff knew all of the people coming in, and I can't recommend this little diner enough. So we were on Dauphin Island for 7 full days, and of course, we didn't dine out for every single meal. It seemed to me like most of the accommodations on the island were beach house rentals. I did see some places that had space for RVs and things like that. Seem to only remember seeing one motel. So most of it seemed to be beach house rentals, which meant most of the places, of course, had kitchens. Where we stayed was no exception. We had a really nice kitchen, which meant, you know, we needed to go and buy some groceries. So as far as groceries go, what we ended up doing at the beginning of the week, like before we even checked into where we were staying, there's a Walmart on the way from the Pensacola airport. We flew into Pensacola, rented a car, and then drove the rest of the way. So we placed like a family Walmart pickup order, you know, at this location, and we were able to grab that on our way down. I also saw that there was an Aldi. I'm sure there's tons of different grocery stores in Mobile that you can access, and it's maybe like a 40 to 45 minute drive. So it's not too bad. Definitely something you probably want to think about in advance or like on your way there so that you're not like running back and forth all the time. We also did make a little bit of a midweek grocery shop just to kind of fill in some gaps. There is a grocery store in Bayou, Batre called Greer's. If you know me, you know I love grocery stores. I love visiting stores that are new to me, so of course I had to go in and I had to film. They had a beautiful display of Bluebell ice creams. That is not something that I have access to up here at the tippy top of Ohio. I think in Southern Ohio, maybe you can get it. Moon pies, we can get moon pies here, but I think they're much more celebrated in Alabama. But it was fun just kind of not only going and doing our grocery shopping at Greer's, but also just kind of like getting some footage of things in there. On Dauphin Island, there's a store called Ship and Shore, and it is what I would call a small grocery store slash large convenience store. So they have a lot of cool snacks and drinks and stuff. They have grocery items. There's probably people who do all of their grocery shopping there. I'm not gonna say that they would have absolutely everything. So, you know, do a little planning ahead, give some thought to the meals that maybe you want to prepare in the place that you're staying. Keep them pretty simple. We did things like burgers and hot dogs. We did grill steaks one day and just had some like deli meat and cheese and bread to make sandwiches on the fly, like if we were hungry or doing sort of a beach day kind of thing. Also, outside of Ship and Shore one day, they had like a little kind of farm stand. So we did end up getting some corn on the cob and fresh green beans to go with our steaks one night. And that was kind of a nice little treat. It was really good. The corn on the cob was excellent. This was my first experience visiting Dauphin Island. I think it was my first experience visiting Alabama in general. We were super lucky to be going with people who kind of already like knew the ropes, were familiar with Dauphin Island. One of the things that you're gonna wanna think about if you are going to be visiting, definitely check on days and times that the restaurants are open. It's a pretty tiny place, you know, not everything is gonna be open every single day. The hours may be limited. Places like Foxy's and Miguel's, those were more like daytime. You know, if you're gonna be planning out your meals, definitely check on the days and times. Someone in the family even made a spreadsheet for us, which was amazing. We could kind of keep track of where we wanted to eat on what day. And I will link all of these places as best I can in the description down below. A lot of the restaurants that we went to didn't have what you would call like a formal website. It was more like they had Facebook pages or Instagram accounts. So I'll do my best and kind of link some of those. So I think that is it. I didn't go into too much detail on the things that we did, but it was a pretty relaxing vacation. There are things to do. You know, we rented a pontoon boat for half a day. We saw some very adorable dolphins, but really it was mostly like relaxing on the beach. We did a lot of reading. We just kind of like hung out. It was a nice thing to do. And if you're not needing to be like go activities all the time, you can kind of make it as active as you want it to be. I hope you liked this video. I hope some of you find it helpful. I know it's a little bit different than what I usually share. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.